Oh baby, you can probably tell by the lighting in the garage that the door is open. I think the tide may have finally turned on this weather. So we're going to tackle something today I've been wanting to tackle for some time, and I'm going to take you along with me out in the lawn. We're going to look at that spring dead spot and see what we can do culturally to make it fill in just a little bit faster. And I also want to talk about when the right time of year to seed is. So stick around for this episode of Budget Lawns. Welcome back, my friends, to another edition of Budget Lawns. I appreciate you joining me as always. If you are subscribed already, thank you. If you are not, consider doing so. Leave me a comment, hit that thumbs up button, and the notification bell so you know every time I've got something new here for you on Budget Lawns. And for you today, it might seem like I've kind of been whining around about it because my spring dead spot is really bad this year. And the weather has not helped me out a whole lot in getting it to fill in a lot faster. I think I speak for a lot of us when I say that it has been a wet, cool spring. So the Bermuda especially is slow to really take off as fast as I want it to be going. But that's okay, you just got to roll with the punches in lawn care because the weather is the one thing we have zero control over. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, spring dead spot, I did a video, probably a month and a half or so ago. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below so you can see what I'm talking about as far as what spring dead spot is and how it affects the lawn, and just really kind of a good overview of everything about it. And I've been saying here lately that, you know what, there are some cultural things we can do to help this speed up in filling in, and I'm hoping today what I'm going to do to it will help me out there. I've mentioned in my past videos as well that I'm mixing up my fertilizing plan this year to add some more potassium to see if that will have any effect on it this fall and into next spring. But today, let's do a few things to it to see if we can get this nasty looking stuff to go away sooner rather than later. First, let's go over my handy dandy tools. It's quite the set of tools there, folks. Nothing fancy here. I've got this little Yard Butler aerator, a bucket for the cores, a little flag thing that I took the flag off of to push the cores out of the aerator, and here's my secret weapon. If you got a kid with a sandbox in the backyard or a water table, you never know what you'll find that might help you out in the lawn. So all these spots, you see them, they're ugly. You know, hopefully you don't have to deal with them like I do. I've had a lot of people been asking me, what's going on in your front lawn? Oh, did you spray something there? No, I didn't. This is spring dead spot, and again, go back and watch that video. It's actually starting to fill in just a little bit in spots. Some of the areas are getting a lot smaller in size. It might not look like it to you, but for somebody that looks at it all day, it does to me. Here you can see runners, Bermuda runners starting to creep over them. We want to try and speed that process up, and one way we can really tell right now that this is spring dead spot is you see the black rotted stolons there. That's a good indication that in fact is spring dead spot. And for those of you that don't know what it is, I'll give you just a quick 101 on spring dead spot. It's a fungus, a disease, mainly in Bermuda lawns, that sets itself in the fall, and you don't know you have it until the spring when the Bermuda comes out of dormancy and you're left with these nasty dead patches. And they're no fun and unsightly, but they can be taken care of, and they will fill in because Bermuda is a spreading, running grass that fills in and grows very, very quickly. So I'm very fortunate for that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to use that hand aerator because I've never aerated my lawn, and this thing was like 35 $40 so I can spot aerate places that I think need a little extra TLC. So we're gonna hand aerate these spots, and then we're gonna use the little sandbox tool to kind of dig out the worst of the dead stuff, the rotted stolons, where we can obviously see the damage from the spring dead spot. And we're gonna just clear those areas out, allow for more airflow, allow for more sunlight to hit that soil, and really try to promote the growth of the Bermuda surrounding it. And I think that will help speed this fill-in process up dramatically. At least we'll see. I didn't do anything to it last year. I just let it fill in on its own, and that worked too. But I want to try something here to see if we can not have to look at these any longer than we absolutely have to. So with that said, let's get to work. You know, I should mention that I picked today to do this because we've had a lot of rain, several inches this week. So the ground is soft. It'll be a lot easier for me to aerate the lawn. It definitely needs cut. And the mow, edge, and blow, all that good stuff is coming up after this. But I'm going to take you through a little bit of this process. I won't bore you with all of it. And be sure to stick around towards the end when we talk about the best time of year to seed, because I always hear conflicting opinions on that. We got to set that record straight. Oh, we're going to start with the big guys too. Ugh. So you can see my main goal here, pick that nutsedge out. My main goal here is just to get good, even coverage of the plugs. You know, I'm not going to make this any more complicated than it has to be. I just want to make sure I get a decent amount of holes in there so we get really good airflow. Not going to underdo it. I'm not going to overdo it. I've got a lot to do, so I just better get going. All right, so now that I've got a satisfactory amount of holes in there, I am not going to leave the cores because I'm going to reel mow with the earthwise here after this. But I'm just going to use this guy, and I'm going to just kind of rough up that area. What I want to make sure I don't do is that I don't pull up the good Bermuda that's already starting to take this over. So I want to be real careful not to do that, because that could ultimately slow us down even a little bit more, because that's already doing some good work. So I'm not going to get too rough with this. I'm just going to go in here, get it roughed up a little bit, agitate that dead material. Then I'll go through by hand and just start picking this stuff out. You can see how easily that stuff's pulling out of the ground, because it's just all dead, rotted Bermudagrass that suffered its demise from the old spring dead spot. And folks, I'm going to keep working on this one just a little bit more, but that's really all it is right there. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. And truthfully, I don't think we need to keep you around for much more than that, unless you're just absolutely curious. If you would like to see more of that, you know, hands-on work, make sure to leave me a comment down in the description below, or the comment section below, so I get your feedback on what you're looking for. because if not, I just like to be here to give you the details, a few tips, and then go from there. And speaking of tips, I've got one last little discussion that I want to talk about. So I'm always seeing online people asking, so I want to overseed or I want to seed, what's the best time of year to do it, spring, fall, summer, whatever. And you may remember that I just did a video about overseeding Bermudagrass, especially if you've already got a decent amount of Bermudagrass in place. You can get my thoughts on that. I'll leave that link in the description below for that video as well. But when it comes to seeding, let's just say that you're overseeding a cool season lawn or you're seeding bare dirt because you don't have any grass at all. Let's get one thing straight when we give folks advice or tips on this. First, I'm not going to even pretend like I know everything about cool season grasses because I don't. There are a lot of other great channels out there to learn about cool season stuff, but I do know that warm season grasses are supposed to be seeded when the weather is warm, say spring and summer, while cool season grasses can be seeded or overseeded in the spring or fall. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding, most folks with cool season grasses like to overseed in the fall. Now some people will overseed in the spring. I guess it just kind of depends on what your needs are. But long story short, when you see somebody ask, hey, when do I need to seed this or seed that or overseed whatever, don't answer that question until you've asked them what kind of grass they're seeding, because that is an impossible question to answer if you do not know what they are wanting to seed. If they're wanting to seed Bermuda, does you no good to seed that in the fall because it doesn't have the warm enough weather to germinate and grow and start to fill in before it goes dormant for the winter. If you have a cool season grass, spring or fall seeding, both options, certainly not in the summer. And the cool season guys out there can give you more tips on that because I am definitely warm season, but that much I do know about cool season grasses. All right, my friends, that's it for this edition of Budget Lawns. We'll get this spring dead spot taken care of. Got a few tips in there on when to seed. Thank you as always for joining me. Wish me luck in the lawn today. It's going to be a good one. Beautiful day, 75 and sunny. I wish you were here. Take care.